do we have a life of unstoppable abundance, a life where we are priming ourselves and setting ourselves up for success, setting up our days and our mornings and our weeks to win? And silence is such a powerful practice to have, and it's so underrated. It's another term that people will be called for stillness, meditation, prayer, whatever that practice is. I recognize that there had been a trend a few weeks ago, actually a few months ago, and it lasted for a while on LinkedIn, where I noticed that people were taking this LinkedIn training on the Miracle Morning, which talks about the 6 habits that I'm going to be talking about today. It is from one of my favorite personal and professional development books of all time. It's called The Miracle Morning. And a little bit about myself. My name is Kisha Wynter. I am a career success strategist helping women break through the internal and external glass ceiling so that they can advance in their career and live a fulfilling and impactful life. And one of the things that I talk about in my coaching is that there are 3 components of having an unstoppable, impactful, and successful career. And the first component is mastering the inner game. The second component is having a long-term career plan and a career strategy. So long-term career planning and strategy, not just focus on the short term. And the third part is savvy navigational of organizational politics so that you win. A lot of people that don't like to hear about politics, but when you are dealing with individuals, you absolutely know that you're gonna need to navigate the playing field. And so silence is so powerful. And I really hope you all had an amazing weekend, but silence is part of mastering the inner game. Any athlete will know that in order to win at any game and to actually have long-term peak performance, the mindset is so important. And I talk a lot about building confidence. And here's the thing, that confidence comes from knowing the value that we bring to the table. Because if we don't know the value that we bring to the table, how can we expect other people to recognize that value? So the first step is to recognizing the value that we bring and to own it. And one of the missing pieces that stops us from recognizing the value that we bring to the table is that we are literally not still enough, long enough, and clear-minded enough to actually recognize the things that we do well, to actually know the internal wisdom that we already have, that we don't have to search for the answer outside of us, but that inside of us, we already have the answer. Yes, we can study. Yes, we can collaborate with people. Yes, we can research. But at the end of the day, before we take a step, before we make a decision, we actually have to look internal and decide whether or not something is for us. And that comes from internal wisdom. And the reason why, and I believe all of us have internal wisdom, but the reason why a lot of us are not able to access it is because we haven't slowed down long enough to hear that deep, still voice within. And so silence to me is an invitation to access that internal wisdom that is within our hearts, that within our spirits, that we already have. And the thing is, right now in 2020, it's an interesting year, to say the least. It's probably the most understated word, to say the least, interesting year. And here's the thing, anxiety levels are rising. I mean, I will be very honest. I have dealt with anxiety myself. And every time I move away from the practice of practicing calmness and practicing stillness, anxiety rises even within me. And so here's a reason why. It's because we practice every single day. Our society has been set up for us to practice anxiety. And we're practicing anxiety every single day. What does that mean? Let me tell you how we practice anxiety. We're practicing anxiety by listening to the news over and over again. We're practicing anxiety by the amount of time we spend on social media, especially reading toxic comments. We practice anxiety by talking to our stressed out workers and engage in complaining with them. Those are at least some of the many ways that we practice anxiety. And so, in order to undo those practices, we actually, instead of just praying and hoping that we are peaceful and calm, we can actually invite peace and calm in our lives through daily habits. Another word, through practicing calmness and stillness and peace. And that is done through meditation. That is done through daily silence. Some people will call it stillness. Some people will call it meditation, which is how I prefer to call it. Some people will call it contemplation or silent prayer. But whatever it is to welcome this habit, to take a few minutes out of our day, every single day, even a few times a day, to just be still, to just calm down, to just recenter ourselves. And as we, Ladora, I just saw you. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for listening in. And hopefully this will also be helpful for you. Thank you so much for your support, my friend. And so I'm going to spend a minute, and I'm going to we could talk for days and days and days about stillness, but I'm going to do 60 seconds just for you to reinvigorate, to rejuvenate yourself, to be still, to hear the wisdom within. Maybe you're going to a meeting in a few minutes and you really need to clear your mind to think about what it is that you're going to say. And sometimes we're going so fast, and talking so fast that if we would just slow down for a minute or two, the answer will come so quickly to us and it won't have to be such a struggle. And so I'm going to invite you to sit for 60 seconds, and we're going to start with 2 deep breathing exercises, and then we're going to just for 60 seconds to be still. And before I go into that, I want to tell you that I have a free resource, a free guide that talks about 10 confidence building strategies that you can implement now. And I invite you to DM me, send me a private message, or even put in the comments below, I'm interested, and I will send you over the free resource, the free guide. So I'll repeat it at the end, but let's get still for a second. And I want to invite you, we're going to do this for 2 times before we go into our 60 seconds of silence. I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose for 3 seconds. Then we're going to hold it. We're going to do it together. We're going to hold the breath for 1 second. And then we're going to exhale for 6 seconds. And the exhale for 6 seconds is important because it's in the exhalation that we welcome calmness, that we rewire our nervous system to just be calm. It's in the exhalation that we release the fear, that we release the doubt, that we release the frustration. And so let's just do this 2 times. Inhale through your mouth, through your nose for 3 seconds. So inhale, hold for 1 second, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. And then I'm going to invite you one more time to inhale slowly through your nose, hold, exhale slowly through your mouth. And then we're going to start 60 seconds of silence. And so I hope you enjoyed that small time, that 60 seconds of silence, so that you can hear that still small voice of wisdom that lies within you. I would love to hear from you. What was that experience like of just pausing for 60 seconds? How did it affect your mood? How did it affect your mind, your thought process? Just how do you feel now versus when you started the 60 seconds of silence? See, it doesn't have to take 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Getting still and being still and accessing our internal wisdom and our intuition and practicing calmness and releasing anxiety just takes a few minutes. So I want to say thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be coming live every single day. I'm going to try to do it at 9:30 in the morning. I decided to start late today, but I'm going to try to do them at 9:30 in the morning, just coming live and going through the 6 habits that helps you to master the inner game so that you could be successful at work and in life. It was great. Use some essential oils. And Ladora, share what essential oils that you used. I love lavender. I use that when I go to bed. And I know like there's like an orange that gives you so much more energy. But tell me what you use so that I could try it out and maybe the other listeners can try it out as well. And so as I was saying, I'll be sharing S.A.V.E.R.S for the rest of this week. I'll be going live Tuesday through Saturday at 9:30. And I hope to see you there. Well, that's all for today, my friends. Don't forget, you are not meant to shrink down lower, so rise up and own your power. Have a